that match that Rahul Tewatia turned around. I think it was the most heartwarming moment for me. Like absolute heartwarming moment.
Hello and welcome to episode number 21 of All Things Cricket by the 12th Man. I am your host Ujjwal Sachdeva, and today we have with us someone who we've seen a lot of on Instagram live chats in the series Rally with Rupha. She's co-founded Star Sports Tamil and worked as a freelance producer, writer and presenter over the years. She's covered sports beyond cricket and is till date the only Indian journalist to have interviewed both the Williams sisters together. So we have with us Rupha Ramani with us. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, Ujjwal. Nice of you to remind me of certain things which I had probably forgotten briefly. But yeah, good to be here.
Okay, and how was your experience this IPL coming back from a biosecure bubble? How does it feel? How is life changed now?
It's a little weird, because I think so strangely, I thought I would not get used to quarantine and I would not get used to being by myself a lot of times. But it was nice. It was refreshing. And I think there's so much of sense of freedom in the bubble, in the sense that it's a safe environment. There are a lot of things that you're so comfortable around because everything is taken care of. It's sanitized and everything is in a sense sorted, that when you go out, when you step out, then you're not really sure of how things are.
Yeah.
So it's a little, but it was very challenging. I think this IPL was a very, very different, historic in many ways. Challenging for the few of us who were part of it. Yeah, it was, in that sense, it was quite challenging.
And getting back from that bubble and getting back to all of those precautions, how was that as a challenge?
Well, I haven't really stepped out yet. I still have a week, less than a week to go to finish my quarantine. Yeah. So still haven't stepped out. But so far so good. I think I should be able to manage life with not being in a bio bubble. I think we should all get used to it, right? All of us, I think at some point, get used to try and work around the limitations that we have and still try and lead a semi-normal life in some ways.
Fair enough. So how we plan to do this is we'll go about it in 3 segments. Initially, I'll take up your opinions on sports journalism and some things about cricket. Secondly, we'll talk about Indian cricket and then take up a few questions that people have sent in for you. And finally, we'll do a rapid fire segment.
Awesome. Super.
Okay, so I'll start with my first segment and take you right to my first question. So you've been a part of Star Sports, you've been a part of news channels, you've been a freelance sports producer, writer, presenter. There's a lot of things that people dream for that you've done in your one single lifetime. So based on your journey, if you had to give advice to budding broadcasters, to those who are freelancing currently, what would you tell them?
Well, nice question to start off. Okay, first of all, I think what I really missed in my career so far, I don't think I think everyone, it's nice when everyone has a mentor or a guide.
Yeah.
I think the only one in my family, at least the first in my family to kind of take up something like media and communications, which at a time was a very niche career. It was not a career in some ways. So it was a very challenging beginning in some ways in that sense. But what I would suggest, I think my biggest advice, I think in some ways for anyone who wants to be a part of this field or to be a freelancer, more so a freelancer, is just have the passion for it.
Yeah.
I think if you really love doing what you do and you consume hours and hours of that particular thing that you're working towards, whether it's sports or whether it's whatever field it may be, you're constantly thinking about it. You're constantly finding ways of trying to make it better, or constantly finding ways of doing something different. Originality, creativity, passion, I think those things are so important, because if you have that in place, I think everything else will fall into its own, I think things will fall into the puzzle, and the puzzle will be complete in some ways. So I think passion always, and never think that something cannot be done. I think I have honestly felt nothing is impossible. You feel like you want to do something, don't even think twice about it. You want to do it, go ahead, find a way to do it. I think that's the one thing I would like to say.
Okay. Stay passionate and find a way to do things. That's the takeaway. Um, I'll take you to my next question. So this one's about the IPL. And since it was different this time, as you mentioned previously as well, because of the no crowd factor, for a team as huge as CSK to cover fan discussions, to resonate with the feelings of all of those all over India and perhaps outside India, and in a situation where people don't get to come to the stadium to watch them live, was it different? Was there an additional pressure to cover all of these things with further detail, something like that?
Oh, definitely, because there's so much of restrictions, and the fact that so couple of things. I'll tackle one thing at a time. One is
Mm-hmm.
the from my side of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there were positive cases that had happened and CSK was the only team that had positive
Yeah.
cases didn't really a lot of the things that were to have happened, or a lot of the things that we were thinking of doing. I think a lot of that kind of got whittled down. So restrictions were probably much more than what we hoped for or what we
Yeah.
expected. That was very difficult to work around, and yes, it was challenging for all of us who were part of that setup to kind of get our things done. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
The second, when you're talking about the fans' perspective, I think it's a pity, and I guess not to take away from the fact that a lot of times, a lot of the games CSK probably didn't close out, or there were a few things that they could have done better. Not to take that
Yeah.
away. I think CSK is a side that thrives on fans being there at the stadium. I think a lot of those matches that went probably a little this way, that towards the end of the match, could have gone CSK's way had it been in, like, say, the Chepauk Stadium. That's not to say that other teams don't do well without fans, but I think for CSK the fan involvement is massive compared to the team. So I guess that was something that was really, really missing from a CSK perspective. So yes, in that ways, this was a strange IPL, and you saw it. You saw it in the way the team's performing, or the things that happened, and then the matches that went on. I think that could be felt. The absence of fans in many ways could be felt.
Right. And when you say it was a strange IPL this season, of course it was. It was the first time CSK don't make it to the playoffs. Firstly, I want to know your reaction to that as a fan, not as someone with the team. And secondly, there has been a lot of talk about CSK wanting a revamp and going into the next season with a fresh perspective. What is your take on that?
So yeah, CSK not making it to the playoff is strange. It's very, very weird to have an IPL where one of the top four teams isn't a team wearing yellow. I think that was a pretty weird thing to happen. But I guess a lot of weird things have happened in 2020, so I'm putting it down to that. But having said that, I think it's good. I guess every team goes through that kind of a wave. It's very weird for a team to keep doing well over a long period of time, and it's been a decade or more of a CSK dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Co-dominance in many ways. I think Mumbai Indians also need
Yeah.
to kind of put them in the same pedestal as well. But yeah, so that way I think it's good to kind of have this experience and then look forward. Revamp, when you're asking me about revamp, yes, of course there's time, but this is the time for that. But it all depends on how the auctions are going to go. Are we going to have a full auction? Is there going to be obviously there's so much of talk of extra teams coming in, so yeah, a lot of that has to be taken into account. And yes, there needs to be a few changes in certain key personnel, but I know one thing when it comes to CSK, even if, let's say, MS says, okay, there's another year or two left in him, and you saw that as well, him saying it as confidently, if not ever, he's always going to be around. He's always going to be there. So a lot of the revamping, a lot of the think tank, and the way the team would look also much after him, which is years down the line, would still have his stamp in some sense, is what I, because I don't think you can probably take CSK out of MS. You can't take MS out of CSK. And that's something that you can't really do without. So I think that's going to be the one thing that will be the constant. So the team also will be something that he kind of visions in many ways, much after he's also stopped playing or kind of hung his boots.
That makes a lot of sense. And I have one more question for you in this segment. It's about your Instagram live series, the one called Rally with Rupha. You've talked to so many international cricketers on that. And other than that, you might have had so many interactions with them on the field, which aren't probably recorded. So if I was to ask you, what would you say is the best part of being the medium through which the fans communicate to these international cricketers, and the best part about getting to interact with them?
Nice question, Ujjwal. I think the first thing is a lot of people don't realize. I think a lot of the fans just watch an interview and they're so attuned over the years to just see a cricketer or a sports person answer questions. And okay, he's spoken about his performance. He's spoken about his strengths and what went wrong, what could have happened, his disappointment, success, all of that. But I think what was the best part for me is I think a fan got to see um, a sports person, in this case, probably mostly cricketers, be a little more uninhibited, because I think the rapport that I share with a lot of them off the field kind of reflects in the way you converse with them. So a lot of the times they are seen in a light that you don't see them in at all.
Yeah.
For example, I think a lot of people, in fact, came up to me and told me, we've never seen Raidu being so fun and cheerful. He's so he's always like in the mode to like battle on the field, and to see him that way, because then I think the relationship that you have with them and the friendships that you make over the years is what reflects on an interview. I think that's the takeaway I would say, because then you see them in a light that you've not seen them in. You see another side to them, and that's, I think, important in an interview. Not what you already know from press conferences that you can hear anywhere. It's what you kind of share, and how much you know that person, that kind of reflects. And I think that's the best part about it. And the most fun I had, I think the most fun I had, no, is that what you wanted to ask me as well? Which was the
I wouldn't mind getting to know that.
No, I think the most fun interview I think I had, or at least chat I had, was definitely with Dinesh Karthik. I think the language also helps. The fact that we've had so many conversations in Tamil also helps. But when he's in the right mood, he's a laugh riot, and I couldn't stop laughing. I think the entire chat. I think that was one of the most fun interviews I've had. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, with that, I'll take you to my next segment. It'll be about Indian cricket firstly, a question or two, and then finally we'll talk about the questions that we have for you. So my first one to you is, throughout your years as a fan of cricket and as a broadcaster, what is your favorite Indian cricket memory?
I think my favorite has to be the very first the very first series I covered outside India, and that was in my very first year. I think there was something that happened and I wasn't supposed to go and cover. See, I'm making it a little personal. Of course, there were many moments that you watch as a kid, in your rooms, but this is like a little personal for me. I wasn't supposed to go to England. It was the very famous 2007, 8, 2007, not 8, 2007 India-England series, the test series, and I wasn't supposed to cover it at all, and something happened. Visas didn't come through for the crew that was supposed to. I had instantly just gotten my passport made, and it was done, and I was there, and I watched my first ever match at Lord's live, Zahir Khan bowling. I think that was an amazing moment for me, and it was a great series. I mean, India won that series, a historic win for under Rahul Dravid. So I think that for me is a moment that I'll never forget.
Okay, and if I was to talk about specifically your favorite moment in this particular IPL season, then what would you pick?
In this IPL season, would you say a cricketing moment, a performance I would not.
Anything that comes to your mind first thought.
Oh, that's interesting. I need to think a bit. If I have to go by the cricketing moment alone, I think the one thing that really is a very heartwarming for me is, I think, that match that Rahul Tewatia turned around. I think it was the most heartwarming moment for me. Like, absolute heartwarming moment. I love rags to riches stories. I love underdog stories. I think that I live and breathe for something to watch and experience things like that. And to see that was just absolute, like it was stunning. I think it was brilliant to see something like that happen, and to in some ways be a part of that kind of moment in some ways. So I'll have to say that. I mean, that was just, that's what that's what life is about, right? The unexpected, and you never give up, and those kind of things. I think we got to see it.
It was pretty evident the way the match ended. You had an Instagram live going on. There was a flood of tweets going on from your side. So
it was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. Yes.
Right. And now I'll move to some of the questions that we have for you. So the first one we have, it's from someone called Usman Ahmed Shabir. So Usman is asking you that you've been in multiple roles. Out of those, which one do you love the most? Being in front of the camera or being behind the camera?
See, if you're behind the camera, you're calling the shots, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of you're kind of shaping how things have to be and how things have to look and all of it, and you have more control of the content.
Yeah.
Though I've done a bit of both fairly enough. In fact, I've been in front of the camera way long time back and then started coming back on recently.
Mhm.
Though a lot of people tell me to take that a little more seriously, which I don't. But I think I enjoy being behind a little more than being in front. Only because there's so much control that you can decide, you can shape the way something is shown to the fans and something that is decided. So I think that is a little more. Yeah.
Okay, and the next one is a question that 3 separate people have sent in. It's the exact same question. It's from Omkar, PV Ram, and Akshay Krishnan. So they are asking you, when and how did your interest in the sport generate originally? As a child or maybe whenever, but how did it originally start?
I think it's all because of my family. We're all of us are like sports crazy. It's not just cricket. It's not just getting up at 3 a.m. and watching a New Zealand series in the winters of the north. I was living up north at that point, but it's also watching Olympics. It's watching a lot of tennis. I used to play tennis. I took up tennis pretty seriously for a brief while. So I think that's where it started. And then to make that part of a profession, I think is just a dream. It's just a dream for me. A lot of people wish they could do that. A lot of people want to do that. So it's great that I was able to do something like that and make something I love, something I can make money out of, and make it a career. So it's I think that it started when I was a kid, long time back. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and finally we have Nandita Sharma and Paresh asking you, what is your favorite all-time moment with CSK?
Oh, too many moments, I mean, I was extremely skeptical because I had always covered IPL from the start as a very unbiased. I'm still unbiased largely, as a very unbiased. You're a reporter and you're reporting stuff and you're interviewing, and it's largely you don't have any you don't link yourself up with any team. So I actually had I was very, very skeptical about this when I started working with CSK. I was very skeptical. Obviously, you would be because though you know all the players and you briefly know the setup and the management also because you've been around them for so long, to kind of be in their face and work with them, you are a little skeptical. So I must say a lot of moments with the players, off the field. I think after a match or just in the just around training sessions, we end up traveling together so much. So at the airports, at the hotel lounges, we always when we're traveling, we come and end up eating together in a restaurant or together. So those moments are just you'll never get them back, and you see them in a more casual setting, and they're just so much more relaxed and not the person that you see on television. I think those are I can't pinpoint one, but the 2018, the win, and the 2019, even despite losing that final, I think those moments will never forget because those were just brilliant moments, and again something that I'll always carry right till the end.
Right, and with that, I'll take you to my final rapid fire segment. The rules that apply to every rapid fire are the ones that apply. You just have to say the first thing that comes into your mind. So my first one is the funniest moment related to cricket that you've been a part of, on or off the field.
See that? Oh God. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the first thing that I was going to say, that there are a lot of moments that I don't, but okay, fine. This is going to come to my mind first. So, okay, I'm going to keep it very brief. This was when I was again traveling with the team, but not CSK. I think it was the Gujarat Lions. Dwayne Bravo was part of this setup. And so Dwayne Bravo, by the way, is known as the prankster. He is the prankster. He will go and scare everyone. He will, play the fool. He loves to keep everyone in the best of spirits. Amazing guy. So he was constantly scaring a lot of us and pranking us in that season, and we had enough. So we decided to scare him one day. And I won't tell you how we went about it, but we went about it and we recorded it as well. Yeah. And that was hilarious. He didn't expect it. He kept laughing for a good 15 minutes after he was shocked, of course. And it was amazing. I think it was brilliant that we were able to do it. We of course planned with a few of the players and a few of the management guys, and we did it, and it was insane. It was good fun. So that probably is one of it.
Sounds like a good revenge. And I'll ask you next, who is your favorite cricketer in the international circuit currently?
Favorite cricketer? Okay, I don't have any favorite cricketers. I think a lot of them are. I mean, calling someone a favorite would be a little unfair.
Yeah.
So no favorite cricketer, but if you had to ask me who I really love watching play at some point, I think maybe not this year. Probably wasn't his year so far. I mean, there hasn't been much cricket this year. But Rohit in his prime, when he's especially those times when he's post hundreds, when he's in full flow, great joy to watch. Amazing. Just another level of cricket. It's just beautiful to watch.
Okay, and in the next set of questions, I will be asking you your opinion on certain things this IPL. So, the best batsman according to you?
Okay, again, I can't pinpoint one. I'll have to probably go with two, because these two, I think, fed off each other. A lot of times when you have partnerships that really do well, I think it's not just one person, it's them kind of feeding off each other, and they really did well. And rare to see an Indian opening pair kind of doing so well. So KL Rahul and Mike Agarwal for me. I think they really fed off each other so well. They were amazing. Hit a purple patch throughout the IPL, and was a joy to watch them bat together.
Okay, and if I could ask you to pinpoint the best bowler or a partnership, up to you.
Yeah, best bowler. Look, I think it's always nice to pick, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go with the most wickets. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But this is someone who's actually grown over the years. Again, it's going to be an Indian, someone who's grown over the years, and go-to bowler for his side, for his captain, Yuzvendra Chahal. I think he was awesome, and it's very difficult. I think more so over the years as batting has become so much more explosive. People are finding more shots and more ways to score. The rules aren't really that helpful, though they've changed a bit over the last few years. I think usually Chahal, for me, probably someone I would go for. It was difficult to bowl in certain conditions, and for a team like RCB, it is difficult. So yeah, usually Chahal for me.
Right, and if you had to pick the best youngsters amongst all of those new faces that came along this season,
I have to say Padikkal, David Padikkal. I think it's very, very difficult, to be an opening batsman. You know that that team has struggled finding the right opening pair for the longest of time. They're the team that's tried the most number of opening combinations. You have Virat Kohli for captain. You can't let him down. You have so much expectations. RCB's never done well, and then everything is on you. And then youngster, the way he played the first, of course, a few shots were a little rough, but the confidence and the way in which he played that first match, I wouldn't forget. Was amazing. So I think Padikkal seems very, very mature for that young age. Seems a mature head on the shoulders. So impressed me a lot. Yes.
Perfect. And if you had to pick the player who was the most exciting to watch this season?
Most exciting to watch this season, I think I'm going to go with the CSK player. I think it's Sam Curran. I think that guy has boundless amount of energy. He was like, I mean, in a team of relatively older people, he's like this, young bunny, energizer bunny around. He brings that kind of energy when he's fielding, when he's bowling, when he's batting. Quite a delight to watch.
Definitely, he got this nickname. I think Graeme Swan gave it. He was called the babyface assassin throughout the season, and that's what he did throughout.
Yeah, pretty much that. Yeah.
And if you had to pick a player who you think disappointed the most according to his own standards?
Okay, so there are a few who kind of fit this bill in some ways. If I have to go around, I mean, Glenn Maxwell, there was a lot of expectations riding on him. Of course, a lot of the CSK guys as well. I think after a couple of good seasons, a lot of them didn't perform. Kedar Jadhav was a very disappointing season. Few others too, but if I have to pick one, because I know that there was so much of expectations on him in the national side also, and to not really live up to that was Rishabh Pant. I think there was a lot riding on him, and there was so much of expectations on him behind the wicket. And as a batsman, maybe didn't play to his potential, or didn't play to what he has showed us in the past. So yeah, maybe that was a little bit of a disappointment for me.
Okay, and I'll move to a different set of questions. So the best person who you thought to interact with till date amongst all your interviews, all your live sessions, amongst cricketers specifically?
Oh God, this is difficult. I cannot pick best. I've enjoyed interacting with everyone. Yeah, I've enjoyed. I mean, I did mention Dinesh Karthik, right? I did
Mhm.
mention Dinesh Karthik.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, he's hilarious. I think it was good fun interacting with him. So I'm gonna stick to that answer. Yeah, I'm not gonna give another new one. Yeah.
Perfect. And if you could pick one batsman to bat for your life, who would you pick?
Okay, which format are we talking about?
It's your life, you know that.
Oh God. Okay. If it was the longest format, then I'd pick Pujara because I'm going to go with Indian batsmen. I'm going to pick Pujara. If it was the shortest format, a shorter format, then I will have to go with KL Rahul.
KL Rahul. Perfect. And conversely, if you had to pick a bowler upon whom your life will depend,
I'll go with Bumrah.
any format.
Always most reliable guy for sure, and especially across all formats. So yeah, I'll go with Jasprit. I'm sticking with Indian picks for now for obvious reasons, but yeah, Jasprit.
Okay, and if say for some reason there is one match that you had the opportunity of going back in time and getting to watch again, is there any particular match you would want to relive?
Okay, so a couple actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are too many amazing encounters. I mean, there's so many. You can go with Australia versus England, India versus Pakistan.
Yeah.
So many earlier West Indian, when the West Indies were at the height of its own. There's so much that you can pick from, but I'd pick two. One is the 2007 World T20 final. I think that was a very emotional moment for me, obviously because of what had happened leading up to that. A horrid experience for India at the World Cup. So that is one. Second would be 2001 India versus Australia, the Test series. I think that was again a very emotional series for all of us. I was watching it at home with my dad, so I think that was something that sticks as well. So I'm again going with India centric. A lot of moments with the Fab Five those years. I think it was good memories.
Perfect. And I'll move a little bit aside from cricket. If I had to ask you your favorite actor.
Yeah. Favorite actor. Oh God. This is gonna take maybe DiCaprio. DiCaprio. Much underrated. Always. I mean, you want him to do well. You're always cheering for him on the sidelines. So yeah, I think DiCaprio.
Okay, and your favorite actress.
My favorite actress of late, she's been amazing. I think she's done a few fabulous roles as well. Tabu.
Okay. And if there is a movie that you could watch at any point in time, you would pick?
So I love watching movies. I'm a movie buff. I love watching all sorts of movies, different languages. There's no barrier. But just for the sake of being a little cheesy, and this is one of my favorite movies because I watched it as a kid, was Sound of Music. I'll watch it over and over anytime. It just stuck because I watched it as a little girl and it's just stuck in my head. So yeah, Sound of Music.
Okay. And if you could play the lead role in any of these movies that you say you're a movie buff, if you could play the lead role in one of them, what would you pick?
Give me a lead role in any Malayalam film because they are just amazing. I think Malayalam film industry needs to be recognized. They're brilliant. I think they are one of the best language films in the country. I mean, I know Bollywood makes a lot of good movies, but nothing like the Malayalam film industry. They're way ahead of its time. And the fact that one of them and the fact that a Malayalam movie has gone for the Oscars, I think it's time that they should recognize more of it because they're just fabulous. So any lead role in a Malayalam film would be awesome.
Perfect.
I learned the language. I'll learn it.
I didn't know about the fact that a Malayalam movie was nominated. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and your favorite song or your favorite singer, pick any.
I love all kinds of music actually. I go with the flow. I think I keep listening to again, language is not a barrier again, except for EDM, I can listen to anything. So no particular favorites. Whatever is current, whatever is in the right now, I'm listening to this Zara Larsson track called Wow a lot. So maybe that's my current at the moment. But yeah, and a Telugu number. There's a Telugu song also somewhere that's on loop somewhere. So yeah, it's a bit of both.
Okay, and your favorite cheat diet?
My favorite cheat food is anything chocolate. Though I don't think chocolate should necessarily be cheated. Should be under the cheat category. I think chocolate is cool any time of the day, any time of the week. But yeah, anything chocolate would be perfect.
Okay, and in the next set of questions, I'll take up some moments this IPL that managed to amaze us as fans. So I want to know your reaction to them, both as a fan and as someone who is probably thinking behind the camera. So the first one is the last match of CSK. Dhoni comes up, takes the mic, and he says, "Definitely not."
Oh, we loved it. There were a few of us, obviously only a few of us at the stadium. We were at the stadium when that happened, and you can hear it because you have. So we are at the VIP, we are at the VIP, the box, right? The team box is where we are sitting, and the problem was this match was, I think Abu Dhabi was the last game.
Yeah.
Yes, Abu Dhabi was the last game, and it's very far. Like the stadium is huge, and the action is very, very far. In Dubai, you're probably a little more closer. Sharjah, you're like right on the ground, but this one is like a little far. So it's so like far away, and you can see the screen. We could hear it, and we had screens, TV screens in our box as well. So we actually saw it. There was a bit of goosebumps, and obviously, you're thinking, okay, that's great. And then before you know it, it's become viral, and everyone's messaging me, and it's a meme already. So yeah, pretty goosebumpy for sure. Yeah, as a fan, that's it. I mean, breaks the internet. That's all that they're talking about. They don't care. CSK is not qualifying. Wow, he's going to play for another few years. So yeah.
Agreed. And seeing Surya Kumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan in the middle order for Mumbai Indians, two uncapped batsmen, both crossing 500. Your reaction to that?
I think what a season for both of them, right? I mean, I think especially for someone like Ishan, and I'll come to Surya Kumar in a bit, but especially for someone like Ishan. So he's obviously been accused of being inconsistent, accused of being part of such a lucrative franchise, given roles, given chances, but not really delivering. And for him to kind of do this consistently and to give that confidence that he can deliver, he can be that person in crunch situations and take the team across. I think that was amazing to see a youngster do that. Surya Kumar, I know so many, he's been around for so long. He's been doing so well in domestic cricket. Never ever shirks away from being part of the domestic side. A component of his Ranji side as well. Yes, it was heartening to see him as well, do well and perform for Mumbai Indians. I'm sure that it's not long before he gets into the national side. But yeah, it was nice to see these two guys do so well for Mumbai. Yeah.
That should, yeah. And if you had to see Ruturaj Gaikwad as a future prospect for CSK in the coming years, what was your take on his performances in the last few games?
He had I hadn't watched him before IPL, much of him before IPL, but I had heard a lot about him. Like people had watched him, they said, he's actually got amazing technique. He's really, really very sound. So when before he got a chance, of course, he also tested positive, so that was a big bummer for them. And for him personally, I think it was very difficult. So I remember we had these lot of conversations when CSK was losing, and we used to think, give Ruturaj a chance up the order, give Ruturaj a chance up the order. Maybe, there's something that's for him. He's always been an opening batsman. So the first few games, you see him and you're like, oh my God, so many nerves. I spoke to a lot of the players, other players and staff as well. And they're like, no, what it happens to everybody. Of course it happens. You have nerves, you know what you're doing. You've got to keep the run rate going, and you become another person which you're not. And then to kind of see him in the last 3-4 matches, the way he played was amazing. Took our breath away. Such confidence, and of course he says also later that how Dhoni told him, I don't care what you're scoring. You're in my 11. That's something that you always want to hear from your captain, right? For any player, I don't care if you score a duck for 3 games over. You're my guy in the 11. Don't worry about it. Your place is there, and that's what you want to hear from your captain, and that's what will help you perform. He was brilliant and definitely a mainstay for CSK in the future. No doubt about it.
Okay, and one news that came after the IPL, Shane Watson decided to retire from cricket. How much of a heartbreak was that?
So obviously it happened at Abu Dhabi, and so we met a lot of the cricketers because some of them were going back that night itself. Some were kind of going away and then leaving the next day. So we didn't know if we were going to meet a lot of them. So we said bye to a lot of the people. A lot of the South Africans, they were going to prepare for the England series next. The Aussies, a few of the guys, or whatever. a lot of the Indian players were also getting ready to. We had to drop them off to the Indian team hotel where they were going to quarantine before they headed to Australia.
Yeah.
So we were saying bye to everybody, and of course Watson came out, and from what I hear, he was crying. He had cried in the dressing room, and he told everybody that he was going to leave. And of course, the management spoke to him, and there were a lot of emotional moments there. And so did I. I spoke to him as well, and he was like a child, like a child saying, I can't play, I can't do this anymore. And it was so emotional for all of us to see him like that, because he has actually enjoyed. He's been part of a lot of the times that we spent with CS. It was, in the hotel or at the ground. He's always smiling. He's always, so cheerful. Despite the kind of demeanor that you see on the cricket field, right? He's an amazing guy. So it was emotional. But I guess he knew that this was the time, I guess.
Fair enough.
Probably related. And he felt this was the moment for him to leave. So yeah, it was emotional for sure.
Fair enough. And if I had to ask you to make your team of the season from this year, IPL.
Yeah, so I did make it in my head randomly sometime back. So I'm going to just recount that. I hope I remember. Okay. So my openers would be Warner.
Okay.
And Kale.
Okay.
Right? Kale / Mike, maybe. Yeah, Kale / Mike.
Okay.
One down will be Virat.
Okay.
2 down will be Shreyas.
Yes.
3 down will be MS, and he'll be my captain, my keeper.
Okay.
Number 6 will be a toss-up between Washington or any of the youngsters, Washington or maybe Parag, any of them, but I'll probably go with Washington.
Washington, right.
7, again a toss-up between Puran and Pollard.
Okay.
Wow, I remember this team. I didn't even. Okay, Puran, Pollard. That's 7, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm getting into my bowlers. I'm definitely having Chahal.
Right.
That's 8. 3 more. I'm going with Rabada.
Okay.
Arthur and Bumrah.
Rabada. Yeah. Okay. That's 4 overseas as well. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I didn't know if I overstepped. Yeah, that's Warner, Puran, and 2 bowlers. Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay. And if I had to ask you to make a prediction in the ongoing India versus Australia series, who wins the ODI series? Who gets the T20? Who gets the tests?
Ooh, it's difficult, huh? It's going to be a very difficult one for this one for India, I think, because see, look, I'm not going with the first one day. Doesn't look good, huh? I'm not going with the first one day, though they actually have. They could actually come close. I'm not going with the first one day, but it's going to be difficult. But I think T20s could be India. Okay. It could go India's way. I'm not going to give a score line. I'm going to say India is going to be favorites for me for T20s. Tests, it's going to be difficult, especially with Virat heading back.
Agreed,
We don't know about Rohit. We don't know about Ishant. Test is going to be a very difficult proposition for India because you're going to face a very, very comprehensive team on the rise Australian side. So Test, I'm going to give Australia the edge over there. ODIs is even Stevens. It depends on who, because it's such a midway format. So even if you don't do well in one, you still have time and the momentum to carry you through. So it could go either ways. Maybe depends on the first 2 games, and if India kind of have even one win, I'd give India the edge. But yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah.
Okay, and if after all of these years you could put into one word what sport means to you, what cricket means to you, what would you say?
Passion.
Passion. Perfect. Okay, I think that is it from my side. Thank you so much for doing this. It was a very entertaining session to hear all of this from you. And is there anything that you would like to say to your fans watching this?
No, first of all, thank you, Ujjwal. I think it was, I loved having this conversation. I think it was nice to talk to you. It was interesting. A lot of the questions were fun. You should do more of this. I think it's quite entertaining for us also to watch others come in here. And for everyone who's watching, just want to say follow your dreams. Yeah, you never know, it
Yeah.
could actually come. And never give up. Yeah, always follow your dreams.
Perfect. Thank you so much for doing this, Rupha. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks.